When you're going through your items and getting rid of them, where do you draw the line on giving things to other people, donating, selling, or trashing? When are we actually doing a disservice to those around us by simply passing along our things to them to go through? I am facing this right now as I am getting rid of everything. We're selling everything to go travel. And I had found myself setting aside a bunch of photos that I wanted my siblings to go through. I had some photo albums that were my grandparents and one that was my dad's that he just didn't really want. So I suddenly inherited it and got it. And it had everything from his baby photos to his first report card. You know, my grandparents were amazing at keeping things like this. So it was really cool to see all that. But I had them all in a stack to just bring to my next family gathering with my siblings and let them all go through them. And I was sitting here the other day looking at this giant stack, and I realized none of them have the bandwidth to go through this. Not that they don't want to, but two are nurses working full-time with multiple kids and sports and all of the things. The other brothers are in and out of town. My dad certainly doesn't, or he would have years ago. So I just had to make a judgment call to step in and edit them down. And sometimes I can feel, for me, it almost came with a little bit of, what if I'm denying them something that they really wanted to see? But the reality is, if I hand them a photo album, it's going to sit there and never get looked through. And it may be their kids someday going through it and not knowing what to do with those things either. And it may just end up getting trashed or ruined. It's just the reality. So I just wanted to kind of pose this as food for thought as we're all going through things. Sometimes the gift is in the editing, the purging, the making the executive decisions on what to even let them go through. And that's not necessarily from a place of power. If you're doing it from a manipulation standpoint, then that's not cool. That's not what I'm talking about. But if you're doing it in a way that genuinely helps them, then I think that can be a gift. What I have found worked then in this situation was I took some photos and some scans of a few of the things. And then I had to edit down the photos when there's, 6 that are almost similar. I'm going to bring them 3 in case each sibling who's there wants one. For every letter that my dad received when he was a baby, or every baby card, I edited it down to it's neat to see a baby announcement from the 50s or a welcome new baby card that someone might have sent. So there's a handful of them instead of 30. Or the photo albums of Finland that out of everybody, somehow I ended up with. And so I took a few photos of that, but the reality is no one's going to look through every magazine article they had or the magazines they picked up. And hopefully the people were able to when they visited my grandparents through the years, because I don't feel like I shouldn't be the decision maker in this process, but yet here I am. I'm the one that has it, and I'm the one having to make that call. And so having to decide to pick a handful of the photos to scan and take, like digitize, and let the rest go is a tough thing. It's not an easy thing. I think it's mentally draining having to make those decisions, but I also think I'm doing a service to the people around me that when they see 3 or 4 or 5 pictures of that experience, they can appreciate that and take that in. They're never going to look through an entire album, or we all would have when they were all sitting at my grandparents' house our entire lives. So I just wanted to share that. I just think it's a shift on the perspective of how to hand things off to others to go through. Sometimes I think it's obvious when we're going through our own stuff what to leave behind. Sorry, I'm trying not to sneeze. What to leave behind. But it's a different thing when maybe we're going through it and letting people go through things that are not ours. And we somehow got handed the position of the person in charge of that. And there's no actual declaration putting you in charge. You're just stuck making the decision. And so even when we were going through my grandparents' storage locker, and my grandpa had already passed, and my grandma was in a memory care unit, what we found worked was to not photograph every single thing, but we would take a photo of, we condensed the dishes that were worth, photographing into one photo and sent it and just said, circle what you want and send back to the cousins or the aunts and uncles. If there's anything you want in this image, let us know. And so that was really great because some cousins were able to say, I love this lamp, or I love this set of dishes or this picture. And we had a Post-it note or some tape right there. We'd put their name on it, set it aside, and the rest of it got handled whatever way it needed to, donated or or we took it home or whatever happened. Not everybody is used to going through things like this, and it can be really overwhelming. I was surprised by some of the things we did that with, and some people did want. And I was so glad that we did ask. But there was no way that you could have 20, 30 people in that storage all going through things, just from a logistical standpoint of everyone living around the country, but also an emotional, mental standpoint. At some point, it just is what it is. You try to do the best you can, and some people may be disappointed or may feel like they were overlooked, and that's just part of it. I think on the flip side, with my other grandparents, I had other relatives going through that, and I think they did a really great job at checking in with us for a few things. And I had no expectation. I wasn't there doing the work. I wasn't there going through everything. I certainly didn't expect to get to name all of the things that I thought should be mine. And so I think I had to assume that other people were doing that when I was the one going through things, that they weren't just assuming unless they had spoke up about it. It was just more of a nice gesture to check with them. So if you've done this, I'd be curious if you were either the person who made the choice to involve other people, or if you were on the receiving end of this, where either it worked out for you or against you. I'm not talking about dealing with relatives who maybe have some power issues or narcissistic traits or anything like that. I am just coming at it from, we all get along. We're all in a good place. And purely from the best of intentions, because I'm sure there's so many nightmare stories about this. And man, I feel for you if that's what you've dealt with. That on top of grieving or going through things and then also dealing with that, it feels like it would be near impossible. So my heart goes out to you if that's what you're dealing with. But you're welcome to share regardless. Maybe other people have advice for you, or if you have advice for others, I think we can all learn from each other. And just show compassion for each other in the comments. We're all trying our best here and continuing to learn and grow, and we just do the best we can with what we know at the time. So, yeah, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. This channel is all about balancing the real life plans with dreams and goals and making life happen. I'm an artist of 30 plus years, and I also come at things from a very practical spreadsheet project manager mindset. So I really wanted to merge those two together for this channel. And as I'm selling everything to travel, it felt like the perfect time to do that. So if this resonates with you, subscribe and give this video a like. I'd be so grateful. I hope you have a really wonderful day.